Hi everyone, it's Cherry Enchantress. I'm here with another pick a card and another part of our Divine Love Journey. We have 6 piles again for our 6 categories, our 6 Divine Counterpart markers. And each pile has a set of cards. As you can see, it looks a little exotic, erotic. That's because our question is, what kind of sensual lifestyle will you have? So what will you and your divine counterpart, what kind of sensual lifestyle you'll have, or what are their fantasies, things like that in the sensual category. All right, so the 6 piles start from the top: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have the clear crystal. We have the this one is the orange calcite. This is the rose quartz. This is the celestite. This is the amethyst cluster and the apatite. I like all the ites. Alright, so let's see what kind of sex life you're gonna have, what kind of fun things are gonna come out, and let out your breath. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes, release your breath. Open your eyes. Now let your gut be drawn, your heart, and those lower categories, your root and sacral chakra, draw you to the pile that's meant for you. Let's begin. Okay, and here is pile number 1 with the clear crystal quartz. Put it over there. Okay, let's take a look what cards you have. Alright, so what's going on with your sex life? What kind of fantasies and what kind of sensuality is going to be there for you guys? So we have Dominion. You are mine. Dominion is about the male dominating, but you know, that's if you're interested in that, and if this is not your pile, then you can watch something else. But I feel like there's a sense of letting the man take over in this case, or the masculine, I should say. Let's see what else we have. We have honor the masculine. So yeah, respecting men, embracing the masculine divine, you know, kind of trusting and going with the flow of the masculine here, whether it's a female or a male. Your counterpart could be either, and you know, I'm friendly with all possibilities here. You could also be a cross watcher, wondering what your counterpart might be. You could be the counterpart, wondering what your counterpart is thinking. So this is all kind of like, we're all counterparts of each other. But anyway, the point is, the masculine is not necessarily male or female, but there is a sense of masculinity and maleness here. Let's see what else we have. From the Royal deck, we have the Lovers. This is all about union and becoming one and being together. This Luis Royal is one of my favorite Lovers cards. I like the aspect of the Beauty and the Beast kind of sensuality here, and the accepting of the opposite kind of feeling here. This is again talking about the masculine sex principle, and it says open the curtain to beauty. And then we have the 6 of Pentacles. So this is, you know, the reciprocity, the give and take, the balancing of your energies, the masculine, the feminine, the dark and the light, the caring for the masculine. This is a lot of a masculine oriented reading, and it's geared towards honoring the masculine. So let me tell you more about honoring the masculine. In the Mermaid deck, it's a beautiful a passage about the masculine and how you can, really support them. And it's not just about supporting the person, it's also supporting the masculine side in you. The mermaid sings, "For many of the men of this world, there is a sense of confusion, shame, and uncertainty about who they're meant to be. If they are masculine, powerful, dominant, and assertive, they run the risk of being seen and experienced as controlling and cruel. Many men feel that their sense of vulnerability and their emotional self has to be buried with an active self, a self who fixes, who knows what to do, who satisfies, and who makes sure all is well. The idea of masculinity has been corrupted and overtaken culturally, just as the concept of femininity has been hurt too. And we have many wounded heroes, wounded goddesses, wounded gods in our world. This does none of us, male, female, heterosexual, everysexual, homosexual, any good at all. It is necessary for us to reclaim the sacred aspects of masculinity, to create and encourage a healthy masculinity that is unique and encouraged, supported, and listened to. We have so many stereotypes about how a man must behave, and men are suffering, perhaps in some ways even more so than women, as they have been so disconnected from their true selves. So, if you're a man, or woman, but if you know a man, if you're a man, it is time to understand, embrace, and truly honor the expression of your masculinity. Think back to your childhood and youth before you were told who you were, what it is to be a man, by your culture, by your family, and through your schooling and relationships. Who are you? Consider the possibility that your masculinity has been constructed to protect you. Perhaps some aspects of which you have been taught have created sadness, shame, and may even have ensured you missed out on a full and authentic experience as man so far. Men are sensitive, men are sacred, men are gods, and the powerful insight of the merfolk can show you how to go deeply into the way your gender has shaped your destiny this lifetime. The merfolk encourage you to reshape it into a form that expresses who you truly are, not who you were taught to be. So there you go. So you might actually resonate as the counterpart that is masculine if you're watching. So maybe that's why this card came out to you. Or you may be attracted as a feminine to this very strong, dominant male in your life who, part of their domination and dominion is possessing you and controlling you and holding on tight to you as you are theirs, And in some cases that control can turn a little bit to the extreme. So there's a beautiful balance here. This is talking about the balance, okay? This is talking about the male has the dominant force here, but yet you balance him beautifully. In both of these cards, you are his balance. Without you, he can't be true to himself. He can't fulfill the masculine inside him. And so it's beautifully played out like a ballet, a dance in your sex life. He takes control and takes charge, and you're submissive and you allow, which creates a beautiful connection to you, the two of you, that's very harmonious with your spiritual connection as well. And so there you go. That is kind of what your love life would be like. If you pick this pile, if it didn't resonate, then it's possibly a different pile. And by, being dominant in no way means being cruel. That's a misconception that dominance is equal to cruelty. Because I feel in this case, especially with this couple, is that the dominant will be constantly always checking on his counterpart and making sure that they're okay and that they feel loved and they're feeling always good about themselves. That's what a true dominant would do, right? Constantly be checking back. So don't worry about the situation. If you feel that it's wrong to be in a situation with a man that's dominant, then maybe look at it in a different point of view. If you help give him back his power, then he can create so much more, you know? So honor him and honor the masculine side of you, because you have masculine and feminine in you. And every once in a while, you know, you might want to try other things and change it around, right? So honor both sides of you, and both of you honor both sides of your persona, you know. Both of you have both the masculine and feminine, and it'll be very liberating to tap into both sides. All right, and so I feel like this pile belongs to the public servant, mostly because of the Six of, what's that? Six of Pentacles. That is the one, the giver, the one that helps the public, that's always there, giving, supporting, charity, donations, and things like that. So let's see what your charms have to say. Okay, so you've got Aladdin, who's kind of a masculine in transition. You have Jack Skellington. You have New Bohemians, new way of looking at things. The MTV generation. The Hamsa hand. I feel a visit coming soon, or some news very soon. You've got Dobby here to protect the reading. There's love and hope. This is sure. You have this beautiful elephant of memories, nostalgia, connectivity, knowing each other for lifetimes. I like it when my sparkly charms come out. We got a sparkly fish too, and these are from Genevieve. Thank you, Genevieve. I like its blue eye. The fish is awesome. It's about success and abundance. Mostly money matters, but it can be success and love too. Oh, look, you've got the tarot, the fortune teller. That's me. So it said, listen to your fortune teller. You got another little elephant, some more memories going on here. The number 25, so something could be happening on the 25th of the month or the 18th. You've got, suddenly I thought Toto. You got Toto, the little dog. You have the Hamsa hands. You get the angel, fairy angel spreading love here. You got kisses and bells. I feel like, you know, there's kind of a ringing and a joy when you guys are together. You have the YD, year to date, or you're divine, or you're dominant. And the weight, strong. A French connection, possibly. We got the anchor here. So again, a weighty situation that was connected to the ring. So you guys could get married or engaged anytime. You have the little pig, which means they're optimistic, cheerful, good idea, something about Florida maybe. You have a cycle coming up where new beginnings are starting, and a cross. So there's kind of this interesting spirituality to your sex as well. Saint Joseph, the daddy. See, the daddy dom. Oh God. And then we got the anchor. It's very sturdy, stable. 2 anchors, and this could be the anchors, and the captain's wheel could definitely mean, you know, this person is in charge of his ship. He is driving the boat, you know, and I'm just sorry I'm saying he, but that's just what I'm feeling, because we got St. Joseph and Aladdin and a lot of strong masculine symbols. But there's a peace here. There's a gentleness too. This is not a dom who would be abusive or mean. This is a very loving dom who would be more like spoil you to death kind of guy. All right. Well, I hope you like that. I'm on to the next. And next we have the orange calcite. So let's see what kind of sexual thing is going on between you and your counterpart. We have grubbing. So this is all about the female dominating here. and she's saying, this is mine. So we had the male in pile 1, and it's very easy that both piles could resonate with you, and you might be like the type that might switch back and forth your roles kind of thing in your relationship. You also have soul cage, rescue, escape from captivity and restrictions. And you have, from the Royal Tarot, you've got 2 of chalices, very nice. And see, she's grabbing something. She's taking the initiative. He's kind of the caged or the bound to her, in a sense. And the 2 of chalices is, again, about union, but it's like union of 2 extremes. This is the sweet taste of forbidden fruit, says Royo. Then we have the 4 of Wands, so that's a twin flame relationship. And this, the meaning for this deck says it's the end of war, a moment for a path chosen. This is talking about taking care of yourself without any shame or guilt. And I feel like it's also saying there's no shame or guilt in being the dominant in this situation, whether you're male or female. So you're a female here and you're dominant, and then that's perfectly fine. That's what way it's meant to be. So we're going to talk a little bit about soul cage and what the messages from the mermaids have to say for you. It's number 24, which happens to be a love number. So the mermaids sing, in the legends of the Murrows, we mermaids of Ireland's wild and lovely west coast, there is a dark underside, the soul cages. These are underwater prisons where men are held between the worlds, prisoners of the jealous Murrow men. Under the waves, the Murrow men entrap the princes of earth in cages of kelp and coral, the soul cages of legend in which the prince lies suspended between life and death. But for every man kidnapped and thrown into the soul cage, there is a Murrow maid who will free him from his antediluvian dungeon, swim him to the surface, and start his heart once more with kisses that are part song and part spell. When the breath of Murrow and man unites, the prince returns, alive once again, forever changed. The soul cage card comes to you when you are living a half-life, or when someone you know is doing so. The soul cage is one that keeps you from extending your reach, keeps you in a comfort zone that may seem to reduce potential dangers and harms to you, but at the end means you have lived neither fully awake nor fully asleep. You have chosen suspension and compromise. And the Murrows are here with this card to awaken you to the prison and ask you if you are ready to swim free and be reunited with your passions and your purpose. There will be dangers and adventures and moments that hurt, but free of the soul cage, there will be bliss, exploration, discovery, and laughter. If you're feeling trapped, restricted, or squeezed, or limited, or your divine is, you may be within the confines of a soul cage. The soul cage is every compromise you've ever made that cut a little of your soul off, every time you lied to keep the peace. It is the job you took because you thought you could never make a living doing what you love. It is every piece of unnecessary insurance we are sold every time we are told to live in fear, and every time we are encouraged by our culture to live as though we are in great danger. This card and the Murrows now ask you, do you wish to free yourself from the soul cage? It need not be done all at once, for there are many bars, many chains, and many locks. But little by little, they will help you to rediscover the joys of living according to the stories of the soul wants to tell you, and you will be free. And interestingly enough, it came to me that maybe the masculine here is in a different prison and you are here to set him free. Maybe your divine purpose in your love life is to open him up, hold him like he needs to be held, touch him like he needs to be touched, you know, more powerfully, beautifully, explosively than he's ever felt before, in order to release him from this cage that whether it's self-imprisoned or not, he needs to know he's loved. He needs to know that he is an amazing specimen of a man. And you are here to teach him that, I think. So when you turn into that masculine female, you're taking him in your hands and you're proving to him that he is worth all the love that you pour out into him and all the love that you take from him, and that he belongs to you and only to you, and he should not sacrifice himself for some noble cause that's not even realistic, because in many relationships there's just too much compromising going on. The two of you together, this divine couple here, there won't be any more compromise. There is going to be a beautiful flow of give and take, and the woman was going to be in charge and help healing this situation, help healing the masculine and saving from the depths that he was in all this while. All right, and so no rhyme or reason, but I feel like this is the entrepreneur, and you know, can decide for yourself if that resonates or not, and if not, then don't get too worked up about the category. It's more the cards that have the meaning for you here. And let's go ahead and take a look at your charms. Okay. I keep getting things stuck on my fingernails there. All right, you got the beast. So I think, you know, it's like beauty showed the beast love, and that set him free. So you think you're going to be like that. Your love is what helps transform the beast. You know, when I always say that the beast is the divine masculine in transition, and guess what helps transition him? It's not just himself, it's the love that beauty gives him, that transitions him into finding his real self, his authentic self. To me, this is about the feminine helping him find his authentic self through their sex life, through her domination of him. Or some, you know, you can flip back and forth between pile 1 and 2, but, you know, in the first pile, it was through allowing him to be the dominant, and this one is taking charge. So, 3 wishes coming up for you. Some sex coming up for you with a bunny. You might have to wait until the cold weather season, wherever it is for you. Maybe you're in the cold weather season now, so that's nice. You've got Saxon, so big Viking man here. French connection. Yay! This is somebody told me, like, I have 2 dragons. One's kind of masculine looking. It's just kind of silver and pretty. This one's all sparkly, and I'm like, this is a very different kind of dragon. And somebody said it's kind of like the CEO woman. It's like the career woman who's strong and tough and wears her jewels and her high heels and suits and stuff. I'm like, yeah. And we often use the term dragon for powerful women, don't we? So I don't like the B word, but dragon might not be such a bad word for those powerful women out there. We got 2 Eiffel Towers, twin towers here. So one's a little bit smaller than the other, so they could be moving up into a bigger place. We have, something significant happened in 2019 for you. You got the rainbows, good things to come, your chakras aligned, feeling good, possible some travel or somebody traveling towards you. The key to like a lockbox, some sweetness, fairy. Now, it would be very funny if this, you know, very powerful, strong woman was also dainty as a fairy. Then we have the seashell, which is kind of like clue from nature saying hello. You know, these are like clues from the seaside. Whenever you have a question or you want to know something, just ask Spirit to send you a sign, like a shell, a starfish, a feather or something, but there's angels watching over you. You got pixie dust too. It landed right next to the fairy. This is a forever situation though. It's very cool and comfortable, and you know, he's totally willing to go with it because it empowers him just as much as it empowers you to have this kind of relationship. You are flying high like a Pegasus. Yeah, so really you could really go nuts, and she could get into the leather and the whips and all of that too if you want to, just for fun. If you want the pain part, the pain is not necessary to the domination. The domination is part of it's just simply like really showing desire for your counterpart, and and it empowers you. It's like he's letting you empower yourself by having this dominion over him. So it's kind of a beautiful scenario, I think. It's kind of like when he's like, go on top of me, tell me what you want me to do to you, things like that. And that gives you a voice that you didn't have before, kind of thing. Okay, well, I hope you like that. I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, and here is pile number 3 with the rose quartz. And let's see what kind of sexual situation you will have in your life. Also, I'm throwing in mermaid cards, which aren't really sexual, but they've been having a very profound meaning, at least in the first 2 cards. So just take those as special messages, for your life in general, but they can be part of your road, your journey. It's like part of your story. So let's see what you got. You've got tenderness. So you're the open and vulnerable group here. You're feeling safe in his arms, or the other way around, but feeling safe together. So let's see what our mermaids have to say. It's just, it's a lot of touching, holding, embracing, connected. It's like feeling like you just don't want to be apart from each other. Then you have vulnerability. Open your heart and allow yourself to be tender. So in some sense, it's like willingness to be, like in this picture, feminine, and letting him hold you and take charge. In another sense, it's also it doesn't matter who is vulnerable and who's the protector. There's always this kind of beautiful protector, vulnerable one. But within that kind of combination, the protector can sometimes always also feels vulnerable, because he can feel, or she can feel, the needs of the counterpart. And so there's this constant understanding of feelings here. You've got, from the Tarot Sexual Magic, you have the 2 of Cups, which is a beautiful card. And the 2 of Cups or chalices, is called involvement. It's the magic of the scarab, or the beetle. And this is all about tenderness and attraction and affection and collaboration. You can seduce by leaving yourself open to seduction. So it's kind of almost a dance, It's like you can seduce and leave yourself open to seducing, and back and forth, just you can flirt and tease and give him the eyes, the sexy eyes, and draw him into your web, but not in a pile 2 kind of way, not in a dominant, aggressive way, but more in a soft, sensual way. And he may do the same with you. I feel very soft sensuality here, lots of pleasuring, but a lot of flowing back and forth. And then we have, here's the back and forth part, the Queen of Chalices. And so in this case, he's nestled gently against her bosom, and she's got her legs wrapped around him. And so it can go both ways, this tender feeling, this gentleness, this joy of being cuddled and held, and protected. And so, yeah, the Queen of Chalices is tenderness, and it's the magic of the yellow leaves. So that could have something to do with the time that you meet. Maybe the leaves will be yellow, or the next time you get together, or whatever. And then also it says, a tender and gentle story brings you to the point of planning your future with serenity. So if you're not even together yet, there's planning going on, you know, and your sex life sort of brings upon this desire to plan a life together. It feels, you love the comfort and it's all about, it's like such a comfort here. It's like you're living together, but even if you're not physically together, your spirits are so together, as if you're constantly holding and touching each other, cradling each other, nestling against each other, playing tootsies and spooning in bed, you know, those kinds of things that you can feel for real, or you can feel in your dream life, because, you know, I've had those feelings myself. There can be like tantric kind of moments where you just feel in your counterpart's embrace. But if you're lucky enough and you get this for real in real life, then really cherish this beautiful wrapped up connection. I suddenly thought of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. They have a beautiful picture where they're all entwined together, you know, the wrapped up. And that's kind of their connection, was like that. They didn't feel embarrassed, or they didn't shy away from the way that they held on to each other so tightly all the time, and it made them feel good, you know. And I see that in different people. I think I see it a little bit in certain people in my, you know, in my circle, in my family and stuff. And so it's a beautiful, to me it promotes this this ability to have a future together, to be husband and wife, in other words. You know, this is not just lovers. These are people who depend on each other and can be together long term. And for no reason in particular, I chose the Entertainer for this. And it could be, you know, if you don't resonate with the Entertainer, it could be a different counterpart, or it could be a different counterpart with this pile, or it could be a different counterpart, and then that message is true or also true. So all of these messages could resonate in some form or another, or all of them can be true. All right, let's see what your charms have to say. Oh, I got a lot. Okay, so maybe you're of the MTV generation here. You also have this bohemian feeling, like you don't follow any rules, you know. You guys do your own thing. Hard rock. Maybe you're kind of hippie types, where you believe in saving the planet and that kind of thing. And the hard rock could just mean like your counterpart's always hard for you, like he's hard as a rock. And then if he's a masculine, of course, and feminine, it's a little different, but it feels the same. And then we've got the Judas Priest, pixie dust from old Tinkerbell there, the fairy person. You've got the fortune teller, so your fortune is correct, and this is fortune teller approved. You got Aladdin, who's the transitioning divine masculine there. You've got Dobby, who's my little familiar, making sure that the reading went well. You've got Wish, Color, and Hug. You've got the Butterfly of Transformation. Oh, Aladdin did find his carpet. Now he's just got to find his Jasmine and take her on her ride. So do you trust him? Yes, you trust him. This is how you feel about him. You trust him with your life, you know. You would let him take you anywhere. And so basically anywhere, any direction is your direction that you'll go with him. And this little weird key keeps coming out, but I feel like this is the lockbox opens the lockbox to something. This is kind of like the unusual key that opens like a combination, not a combination, like a little lock. The lock to a lockbox. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. We got the deep, beautiful mermaid and the wheel. So it's like a cycle and it keeps going around and around. And, you know, there's the captain of the wheel. There's also karma that comes around. There's also the moon phases. So some kind of cycle going on for you. So maybe I feel like I didn't tell you very much about the vulnerability card and why it's important to be tender. So let's see what it says, because I want to give you equal time. I didn't tell you about tenderness. So the mermaids sing, la. The mermaid reminded me, she's like, hey, you didn't do your mermaid talk. Right, this mermaid reminded me. So vulnerability. And here comes the ice cream man. Anybody want an ice cream? Do 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 do. Does your head hang low? Does it wobble to and fro? So this is open your heart, allow yourself to be tender. That both works both ways, right? The masculine and the feminine. The mermaids sing. This is the quandary of modern human. As far as we can see it, there is an enormous desire to avoid pain, to avoid anything that leads to emotional distress, and yet the very thing that allows such a thing to happen is one of your greatest powers. Your vulnerability is beautiful, and we are drawn to it, and yet so often you feel foolish and embarrassed for feeling vulnerable, and you do your best to hide your tenderness. You feel as though you'll be abused simply because you are open and willing to trust and able to love and be kind. But how attractive and appealing are these most lovely of human qualities? See, this works really good with both 1 and 2 because it's just all about being able to give of yourself, you know, and the sexual and sex is one of the most vulnerable positions ever, and in sex you have to have so much trust, and I feel like this is saying you have a lot of trust with your counterpart, and you know that they have no intent to hurt you, even though you can at times feel pain. It's just a human nature, and sometimes it's pain that you just put onto yourself by miscommunication or imagining things, and sometimes it's true pain because of your feelings, and sometimes you can't help your feelings, but it's important to keep those feelings open and be able to discuss them, you know. And during your love, not saying your love making is going to be painful, it's going to be beautiful, but it's going to be like so deep and tender and awesome that you might cry, that you might feel too much, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And so we all need to crave a sense of belonging, and it is deep and primal. It is at the very core of our survival instincts. For in tribal days, if we're outcast, we're either left as food for sharks or we become strong and wise in our hermitage. These challenges and hero journeys within our keys to inner strength and a sense of belonging to all that is, and yet what makes this heroic and what makes this beautiful is that we can deeply hurt as much by our communication with others as by our distance from them. At this time, you are being asked to open up, display your wounds, after a time building trust and share the vulnerabilities within. You are strong and you are a survivor, but you are fragile too. The deep, intimate connection can only be created by deeply understanding who we are and what we reject and dislike about ourselves, and bringing home and nurturing back to health that which we have forced away. This can require therapy, counseling, and deep vulnerability. The power of this vulnerability is that you break through into freedom, self-love, and attract others with your open heart. It may return from time to time. It is often a theme in our life. So yeah, I mean, love hurts sometimes, and giving, and but if you don't experience this feeling fully, then what's the point, right? So surrender, be vulnerable, and really enjoy the depth of your connection, because this one is extremely beautiful. And yeah, the Entertainer. And there you go. I hope you like that. I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, and here is pile number 4 with the Celestite, which is so beautiful. Right there. Let's see what kind of sexual situation you're going to have. So, we've had some really beautiful ones, and I really recommend you listening to all the piles, because so far it's been like the whole pile, the whole thing has been a whole story. So anyway, what do we have for you? We've got spontaneity, anytime, anywhere. So this is going to be a very fun, sexually charged relationship between you and your counterpart. You're going to just have the need to just drop it and go, you know, anytime, anywhere. You're not going to be worried about public displays of affection. You'll be very unreserved and that kind of thing. It may not be to the extreme of doing it in public, you know, a lot, but definitely I think you won't be shy to kiss and hold hands and be romantic in the public places. But spontaneity is not just about public. It's about just having this desire and excitement all the time between the two of you, and trying things new and trying new places, and within your own home, you know, reading books and doing the Kama Sutra, whatever, just trying out things and being spontaneous. And also, this could be very fun too for those couples who are trying to have children, and sometimes sex lives can get mundane, and so spontaneity can help, you know, changing things up a little bit. So there you go, first for you. And then we have a mermaid message here, and you have air. Breathe deep, entering into life, exchange of the life-bringing energies. I guess I'll go ahead and tell you about air a little bit. Or I'll tell you the whole story. Okay, so we also have, this is the Casanova Tarot. So every pile also has a different, there's 2 piles that have the same deck, or using the same deck. So I use the Casanova Tarot, I'm using the Royal Tarot, and this Tarot Sexual Magic. But mix and match, and so you have to go find those if you want to look at some other tarot. So here we have the Lovers. So this Lovers card is really cute. This shows a very adorable picture of a couple doing it on the balcony. You know, it's like union. It's success. To me, this feels like success, you know. This is understanding. This is affairs of the heart. This is the beginnings of things too. But I feel like this is a constant falling in love with each other. This is also passion and lust. And then, speaking of passion and lust, we have the 3 of Wands, which is the completion of seduction, giving pleasure, initiative, and decision. So yeah, I feel a very like free form kind of, you give each other air, but it's not just that. It's like you don't have any preconceived notions, any expectations. That lack of expectations what makes this so exciting and so spontaneous. So let's see what air message from the mermaid is for you. It is this like breathing underwater. I don't know how people do that for long periods of time. I watch mermaids, like real life mermaids, and it's so beautiful. The mermaids sing, "For a moment now, be still. Be still. Pause in the breath. See what it feels like to be in the in-between moment. Now consciously begin the cycle of breathing. The intake of air, the pouring past your nostrils of the air, the sensation, the feeling, the expansion of the lungs, the slight moment before you release. Then the beautiful moment when all your body did not need, wish for, integrate is released. If you have received this card, the mistress of the deep breath, the merfolk are asking you to explore the breathing you are doing, to make it conscious just for a time until your own capacity to enter into the beauty of exchange with the trees and the ocean's beds of oxygen-created plants becomes closer and more appreciated. You sometimes still believe you are separate and alone in the universe, but every breath you are breathing is not new. The same molecules have passed through others, have been exchanged over and over again. Now it is time to exchange the energy, to take it into you and allow yourself to expand and feed your very cells. It is time to challenge your own patterns of the most fundamental nature, your breathing. You have the capacity to take nourishment and oxygen and far more deeply than you are allowing yourself at the present. It's time to introduce the idea of breathing far, far more deeply and holding the breath so that you know you are safe and traveling into areas where you have not been before. See? The ability to breathe deeply and to swim underwater will encourage you to believe in your own courage and potential and develop your lung capacity. Give yourself time in a place renowned for air that is pure, nourishing, exhilarating. Smell, scent, sounds, all carried on air, enter into you. Drink in life, breathe deep, and fill yourself with the essence of life. So there's one place you can have sex that you might not have tried before. Underwater, I could just see that. That would be so romantic and mermaidy. But yeah, I feel like this is just saying it's kind of like pleasure in the moment, just that moment. There's nothing else but the two of you. There's nothing else but the air you breathe. There's nothing else but the touch and the feel of your bodies. So you're able to do these spontaneous actions because you don't feel inhibited by what's around you, which is nothing, because you're in your own bubble kind of feeling. And I feel that that's beautiful. I feel like you have that ability. And as strange as this may seem, I have given this pile to the officer because I feel like once you've come into this union, you're going to find that within each other, this moment of spontaneity. Initially, he might do it in a dominating way, like he'll ask of you or demand of you to let's do this now. But eventually, I think it will be such a beautiful flow between you two that all you will have to do is look at each other and know you want to. And you're going to be so in tune to the moment, to the sound of the birds, wherever you are, the sounds that you hear, the smell of each other, or smell of, like if you're in the ocean, near an ocean, or if you're smelling a field of flowers. But all of these scents and sensations will build up and put you in the moment and connect you to this world and make you feel more divine than ever before. And so the spontaneity is like being new over and over again. It's constantly being new. I think that's kind of what the breathing is saying. It's not anything new, but treat it as something new that you've focused on now. So and also in a very mundane way, we can, your sex life could have a lot of heavy breathing to it. It could be a lot of close face-to-face things. It could be a lot of whispering in the ear, and a lot of the sound of the breath between each other can be exciting. A lot I see and hear people who are stimulated by their ears. And this happens to me, so a little clue there, like when somebody breathes in my ear, that makes me shudder, makes me tremble. And the sounds of people's voices, but the breath sometimes can be, and so those are things that you might do a lot of. Part of it is just spontaneity, like grabbing each other, breathing heavy, whispering naughty things to each other. Even if you don't go all the way through to intercourse, just doing these moments wherever you feel like doing these moments, which is very nice. All right, so let's having these moments. Let's see what the charms say. All right, we've got the beast and we've got the mermaid. She wants to take the beast. She's like, okay, don't be afraid. I'll teach you how to breathe. I know you have a lot of clothes on. We'll have to take those off first. And then, you know, we got also Jack Skellington. So these represent the divine masculine and the divine feminine. The Aladdin's carpet, magic carpet, could be taking each other on a magical ride. These are just examples of places you can go and things you can do. Do it on a magic carpet. Do it on a carpet. No. Billy Idol, so your rock star wants to kiss you. He's your priest. He's your own personal Jesus. And yeah, so it's very sure. Why do you ask? Because the star of hope is here. You're very yin-yang, just like the colors of the soccer ball. And playful too, you know? And the ball goes back and forth between you on who initiates the spontaneity. And there could be some bondage play too, you know? Like all kinds of fun stuff here. The dinosaur says that this is going to be a long-lasting relationship, or maybe you've known each other in a past life, or you've known each other for a long time, or somebody might be a little bit older than the other person, that kind of thing. All right, well, I hope you like that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if it resonates in your current situation, I would love to hear your comments. So I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, and we have the amethyst pile, amethyst cluster. So let's see what we've got. This is, you know, sexual experiences, sensual experiences. This is your lifestyle or things that might come up, lessons you might need, not necessarily lessons, but the way to explore each other and the way things will be when you finally get to that point of expressing your physical needs for each other. So let's see what you got. We've got bonding. I love this one. This to me talks about a telepathic connection. This could be tantric sex and a lot of 5D kind of sex as well, including 3D sex, but like having this amazing psychic connection that kind of heightens your sexuality, much like drugs might do. Your psychic connection will heighten the sex between you because you have such a connection, because you know each other's minds. You can read each other what you need, what you want from each other, and that will blow you both away. And knots and ties can also mean there could be an enjoyment in bondage, possibly. Then we've got a mermaid message, and you have falling in love, kissing the divine in one another and in yourself. You've got from the Tarot Sexual Magic, you have Ace of Wands. This one's very nice. The Ace of Wands is, it's union. It's the magic of the statues in the fire. It's saying, abandon is the surrender of oneself. One loses his own likeness to enter into something much greater. So far, I feel like a connection that's two wholes becoming one. Definitely a spiritually sexual bond here. Bond. You have the Ace of Cups and two aces also. And the two aces make 11. So I like that. So it always feels like falling in love again also. So pile 4 had that a falling in love feeling to it as well. All of these are kind of connected to each other, so it could be one whole big picture for one person, you know. And so Ace of Chalices says this is ecstasy. It's the magic of the comb and brush. So some of your sex play could be, you know, before, after, or anything that, you know, it could be doing like grooming, you know, like brushing each other's hair, trimming your man's beard, massaging each other, taking a shower together, washing each other's hair or bodies, things like that. So the sense of grooming could also help bond you together and make you feel good together. And so let me tell you a little bit more about what the mermaids have to say. The mermaids give you an extra message, more than just you know, what kind of sex you're going to have or what the fantasies are, but the mermaids will tell you in a deeper sense what's going on here in your connection. So it's saying that there may be no closer moment of connection, of utter merging with the divine, than the experience we have called falling in love. It is so important we do this. We allow ourselves to be overwhelmed and we surrender to the bliss, but also to the possibility of pain, of betrayal, of disappointment, and of disillusionment. Therefore, we mermaids urge you to fall in love, but allow yourself to be real, honest, vulnerable, and to move on if this love becomes painful, unfulfilling, or continually a compromise. Falling in love is a divine miracle, truly, but there are stereotypes about how it looks. Books with strange names like The Rules and the ideal that gets attached to a person who has no idea what your hopes and dreams are. So foolish as it may make you feel, do not be cool, be true to yourself. Fall in love with another and fall in love with your own honesty and vulnerability. Kiss the bliss. I have a t-shirt that says that. Taste the nectar. I'll have another t-shirt for now. Taste the nectar of love and share the ecstasy, but also experience the utter breakthrough and freedom of honesty. It may not come all at once, but little by little. Let falling in love teach you the lessons that as you recognize the divine in another, so too must they recognize the divine within you. It must be mutual, and it must be a boon, not an instrument of torture or manipulation. Bless you, beautiful people, for having this ability. Now, go forth and fall in love with one another, each other, the planet, the animals, the beings, the elements, the ocean, and yourselves, and nature will then be at peace, and well, the blossoming once again. So feeling powerful feelings of attraction for another and becoming overwhelmed with feelings of tenderness, almost to the point of feeling more for the other being than for food, drink, breathing, and all of that, that's falling in love. Feeling powerfully attached to one another, seeing the divine within them, and experiencing the divine within yourself is extremely addictive. The beginning of a powerful relationship, which truly has magic within it, and the recognition of the soul within another, yet it is also wise to know thyself well and to be able to read your own patterns, seeking to communicate and to establish a close bond with another, feeling very akin to them, a dissolving of boundaries of self into a kind of one, a time of sweetness, insecurity, beauty, excitement, newness, and uncertainty, perhaps a time when you are almost certainly very much alive and very much at the end of an ordinary life and approaching what we often call insanity, the space before the knowledge, and when the idealization of the other is at its height. This card can also signal a desire for sex that is sacred, deeply connective, soul-forging, and powerfully erotic. Love-making that is exquisitely spiritual and sensual. Ooh, I like that. So nice. Yeah, so this is going to be a beautiful, powerful connection. The sensuality, sexuality, and the constant falling in love. You know, you're going to go through certainly your ups and downs, but you're going to constantly make up too. But I don't feel like there's going to be pain or cruelty or anything. I think it's just a learning process of each other. But you get to this pinnacle of seeing the beauty of each other so deeply and intensely, you can forgive all these minor little flaws when they flare up sometimes. So I think that's a beautiful connection here. And your sexuality is going to be an echo of all these beautiful feelings of falling in love together. And so I think this belongs to the healer. All right, let's see what your charms have to say. All right, equally yoked. So somebody says, this makes me think of equally yoked, and I think that is correct. That's how I'll keep saying it. This relationship is equally yoked. It's, you know, you can see it in this crystal ball. The future for this couple is good. There's good ideas. There's hope. There's renewal, like the star. Star and hope is kind of the same thing. The dreams coming true. There's music. Ooh, there's Ariel who lost her tail. Ariel, naughty girl, losing her tail. But, you know, this is kind of like, she almost, I just thought of something. You know, when you're in love and you can't eat and drink or anything else, maybe you don't even notice that you've lost your tail somewhere. What happened to my shoe? I dropped my shoe. I don't know why. It's like this feeling of being so euphoric and in love. Sometimes it's like being on drugs and you forget things, you know. It's part of kind of being on drugs. Sometimes is forgetfulness, you know. There's this beautiful tiara, which I feel like represents some kind of royalty. Could be the empress or the emperor or any of the queens or princesses. And somebody else brought this up, what this means, but you decide. There's liberty. The best kind of love is the love where you feel connected and yet free at the same time. And so baby making, this might be the union that has the beautiful blessed child, like the love child, you know, that really unique baby that comes out of this special bond here. Or, you know, the baby represents newness, you know, and falling in love. The aces, new, over and over again, a new freshness all the time. It never gets stale. We've got Jasmine in the tower. Somebody gonna come get her. They're on their way. See, but don't worry, they got your back. You know, they're with you spiritually, at least right now. You've got Aquarius, friendly. Genesis, beginnings again, the first chapter. So the beginning. And new Bahamians, the newness. There's a lot of newness in here. So I feel like this could be a couple, could be a number of varieties, but one, it could be a couple that is in the 5D. They're going to have that earthly sensual pleasures come down to it, and it's going to feel like falling in love because they haven't yet had the 3D experience together, and that's like a whole new thing for them. A whole new world. and then there is the ones that haven't, you know each other in the 3D, but you haven't yet had their first meetings or something. And so this new wave of opportunity to be together is going to happen. The O could be for orgasm. I just feel, you know, a fresh start here, a newness, a goodness, a purity almost, even though it's love. And see, this is one bowl with two yolks, you know. And that's kind of like how the fire is. It's one flame, but two parts to the flame. And it's one. There you go, guys. I hope you like that. That one's beautiful. I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, pile 6, last but not least, with the Apatite. Do you got a good appetite for each other? All right, so we have, what is your sexual experience, your sensuality between you? What are their fantasies? What's going to happen? It's not really when it's coming, you know, haha. But I feel like your counterpart is somebody you're already feeling, whether it's in the 5D or you know them in the 3D already, or if you're even living together. There could be lots of scenarios here. You really should watch probably every pile because there's a lot to it. Like, sex isn't just one style or one thing. You can have a little bit of all 6 piles involved in your relationship between each other. So I recommend that if you want to check out the other ones. Otherwise, just feel free and loose with this. This is kind of like fun, and you know, it's just a fun kind of erotic endeavor. What is the word I was like? Adventure? Embarkment. All right, so let's embark on this adventure. We've got exploration, something different. So this is the kinky couple. This is the one that always wants to try something different. There could be like really edgy types who maybe a little bit on the progressive side, or, you know, they just don't, the mundane, that's not for them, the missionary position, that's not for them. They gotta try the new stuff, the weird stuff, the kinky stuff. So, yeah. Then we have a message from the mermaids, and she says, ooh, divine sensuality, making love erotica. She is the word erotica. And then we have from the Casanova Tarot, and then just saying, again, if you want to look at all the other piles, every pile has different tarot cards. There's 2 piles that have Casanova, 2 that have Royal, and 2 that have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And we have Temperance. So this is moderation, calm, care, patience, serenity, peace, virtue, understanding, and listening. Well, that's a big order. But basically, this is a woman who is completely content and happy on her own. So she looks just like this girl. She looks a lot like that girl, too. Like, I feel like he's serving her. Speaking of serving, let's take a look at this one. The 7 of Pentacles. So this is giving pleasure to a woman. This is giving pleasure to your woman even if you have to postpone your own pleasure. So that's nice too. So that could be part of the kink that appeals to your counterpart. They want to make you come so crazy before they even, try, let themselves get there, right? So that's one area that they might enjoy, trying different things like that to make you just really burst into feeling, into lust, and into juices and wetness and orgasms and that kind of thing. So that feeling between you, so I feel like she just has a sensuality, and I think the feminine here, which is probably you're just, you like to use your sensuality in a way to tease, because you know that he wants to serve you, and so you tease him with your beauty and your sensuality. And I like the waterfalls in the background, which kind of give me a sense that, your pleasure is his pleasure very much, because your noises, your excitement, your needs get him excited. So let me tell you a little bit what the mermaids have to say about divine sensuality. Love making. I don't know what that is. Okay. Of course I do. I have 3 kids. All right. Let's go. So the mermaids sing, yes, the mermaids are protectors and champions of sexuality and freedom, allure, and power. To experience physical bliss is not a purely physical event. There is an intimate connection that connects people who make love or kiss or even just shake hands, who touch, and when we exchange this great intimacy with another, there is established between us a strong energetic connection. The rare plane that's flying overhead used to have so many planes. It's kind of distant, but that's a good omen, right? A plane. So it is wise to consider who we make love with, and when, and where, and very much why. But there is also an undercurrent in our culture that still sees lovemaking, sensuality, and the love of pleasure of the body, and the celebration and elevation of that pleasure to an art as something that is laden and twisted with guilt. The tainted sexual beliefs of the medieval era, which led to a hatred of the body, of sexuality, and demonization of women, are still with us in some ways. Even the sexualization of our bodies undermines our ability to make love, to pleasure ourselves, and to enjoy this great pleasure and joy that has been gifted to us. The mermaid has come to be a symbol of the temptress, the woman who wishes to draw men and lovers to her, and in many ways she is the symbol of danger. And so it is with our sensuality. If you have drawn this card, it's likely you're ready to explore and dive into your own physical expression of bliss. It may be through making love with a cared for other, achieving greater intimacy in your relationships, or even experiencing blissful sensual moments while receiving a massage or dancing. But this card encourages you to reconnect with the love of your natural physicality and to explore the pleasure your sensuality can bring you, and to begin to understand and untangle any of the lingering cultural or personal guilt you may have about this. There are many beliefs in our culture, many taboos too, that women who enjoy sexual feelings and evoke them in others are impure, courting danger, threatening to themselves and to other women, and dangerous to men. But the truth is, we all have a seductress within us, a mermaid-like being who dwells within our psyche and subconscious, who is able to show us how to pleasure ourselves and others, and how healing the sacred sensuality is and can be. So it is possible at this time that you are being judged by others for the sexual choices and mates you have chosen or may be about to choose. Please know it is your birthright to choose freely who you give yourself to and why. The only question is whether this is a sacred and honorable exchange, whether this feels like it is a good choice for you personally. It is time to put aside societal and even cultural and traditional norms and judgments about who we choose and how we choose to enact sensuality. There is a boundary being broken through, as long as this is a free choice of your own and one that brings you wisdom, health, joy, and respect. It is not for others to make this choice. It is yours alone. Break through the fear. Good message. So break through the fear, builder, or anybody else that you think this message is for, because it's not necessarily the builder. It could be any of the other symbols. But I feel like the message is there is this a very unusual, I feel a very unusual couple here. And it might be a couple that's judged by others. And so the message is, don't let them judge you for what you are to each other. You're very unique, special, sometimes kinky. That part of your side, they don't need to know about. All they need to know is that you're happy together and you bring out the best in each other. And it doesn't matter what you do to get to the best in each other, right? It's part of your style, it's part of the way you love, it's part of your sensuality, sexuality, the way you communicate too, and it's part of your connection, and it's what makes you feel complete and good with each other. So nobody else is allowed to judge that. If they want to judge, just ignore them, because you're happy, or will be happy once you get to this point. Don't let people get in the way of it, okay? Let's see what your charms have to say. Okay. Well, you up. I like this bird better. This birdie's on a swing, swinging happily, getting messages, and it's like chatting with you online and stuff like that. You got the sensual mermaid. This is kind of like really like, just lay on the mermaidness of yourself. You know, just really get in touch with your sexiness, if you're feminine, your femininity. If you're masculine, your masculinity. I don't know, whatever, but just really enjoy your shape, your sense, your feelings, your curves, your hair, or your lack of hair, or whatever, you know, like your skin, the smoothness. Just revel in your beauty, basically. I think that's what that means. And then the little piggy is about optimism and good things on the way. Somebody could be taking a little drive to come see you. We've got, Saturn and Venus. This is my Saturn and Venus, because so my Venus is in the 7th house. It could also be Venus in the 7th house, or Saturn and Venus. Saturn in the 7th house. What am I talking about? Saturn in the 7th house, or Saturn and Venus. The point is, this is like a karmic love. You know, this is like a connection that it's almost like the universe says you got to go through with it. It's in your karma. And the little robot with the eyes, you know, just let those feelings out. Don't hold them back anymore. And maybe you're of the MTV generation, or you're going to like lots of music and television. You got name. That's not the only ones I got name. Or maybe I missed one. I don't think I did, though. Something interesting happened in 2019 that might help, you know, maybe recycle back this year. Maybe you were supposed to have a meeting in 2019, or maybe you scheduled a meeting for this year, last year, and it couldn't happen because of this pandemic situation. So I feel like maybe this is going to be a recycle thing. I don't know. Like, I got that divine timing kind of thing. This is like somebody who shows up, who gets the laurel wreath, you know, they get the hero's welcome kind of thing. And good luck, Judas Priest. I don't know why, but I feel like this is saying your own personal Jesus. You know, like, don't listen to anybody else. I'll guide you. I'll show you the way. I'll make this a spiritual experience for you. And then we've got the marble of Mercury, which is communication. So some of that sensuality between you two could be a lot of talking as well. I don't think he's you know, talking in the right, you know, to the to the right hole. Like, I don't know. It's like, her ears are up there. Anyway, just teasing. Okay, so let's see what the Bible has to say. All right. You're not a nun. I don't see. Or you could pretend if you want to. You could be... Oh, there's the Casanova Tarot has a naughty nun picture. CIA? What? Some kind of undercover detective work here? Ah, there is a nun situation here. What? ER, Enchanted Romance. Okay, well, you might see somebody's name or somebody's initials. I got Eric and Erica. Erica the nun. There you go. I feel like I'm going to give you that picture. See, I don't know if I can get to it fast enough, though. I'm running out of time. But I want to show you this naughty picture, if I can find it. Erica the nun. Let's see if I can find it real quick. This camera doesn't have pause. I can't pause it. I'm going to show you Erica the nun, though. And then we'll be done. This, you know, I don't think we're going to be monitored. This is going to be monetized anyway, so why not give you a little surprise. Here's something that you could play around at. Erica the nun. There you go. Can you see it? All right, well, I hope you guys like that. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust. Hi everyone, it's Cherry Enchantress. I am so excited to tell you that now you have the option to become a member of my channel. So you just hit that join button that's right next to the subscription button. So it's very similar to Patreon, and I really appreciate those of you who have generously been supporting my Patreon page. That allows me to continue working on art projects, and I'll keep posting there constantly, but I'm going to move those tiers over to YouTube so we can have more access and more interaction with each other. So just check out these awesome levels and perks by joining my channel and becoming a member. I'm so excited. Take a look.
Become a Sparkle of Light for just $1.99 a month and get loyalty badges and emojis. Each level has great perks like super low-cost monthly readings. Check out these cute emojis. And loyalty badges. Just press the join button next to the subscribe button. Welcome, Sparkle of Light, and remember, all you need is faith, trust, and pixie dust.